Hi, my name is Alexis Nicole Robles, and I am a stage manager at the University of Louvain Theater. I recently stage managed The Merchant of Venice. There's always a certain degree of pressure that a stage manager feels. It's something you get used to, and that doesn't bother me or affect me really too much. It did a few years ago when I was getting into the game, but now that I'm a little bit more seasoned, this is routine. We start rehearsals. I get everything together, talk with the designers, and make things, I'm not going to say completely give them like a general path, but I get everybody on the same direction at least, so that we're all working towards the same goal. We have weekly production meetings, and those usually start before rehearsal, and then in rehearsal I run the rehearsals. I will be on book sometimes or take down what the actors are doing on stage with this blocking. And then later in the rehearsal process, I start adding cues in when I have cues from the lighting designer and sound designer and other designers. And then once the show comes, it's in my hands, and as a stage manager, I get here first. I make sure everyone's here, make sure everybody's on time, everything's working according to plan, and then I call all of the light, sound, cues, that kind of stuff from the booth, telling the operators when to go, and I'm pretty much just in ringleading backstage. The toughest thing during productions is probably unruly actors who are new in it and don't really understand the amount of commitment. Doing a show it's not all about in rehearsal. You take a lot of that work home, and it's really taxing on not just the stage manager but the director and consequently designers when actors aren't doing their homework and they're just showing up for rehearsal like, all right, what are we going to do here now? But that really only happens when you have a new person, and they usually get through that after their first show. So that I think is like the hardest thing to get by in college theater.
The idea to do this is my senior project, being a photography major, because of how visual it is, and the people project themselves very well and are good looking and are talented performers. And I think that's what drew me into this. I ended up using flash in the green room and in the dressing rooms because it was more appropriate. I don't think it would have been as appropriate on stage because of how you need to show how the lighting advances over the period of time, and you can't really do that when you're adding your own light. So that's why I didn't really use flash throughout much of the performance, but I did. My sort of style of the way I was approaching it was I wanted it to be a straight document, and I didn't want to have any ostentatious sort of gimmicky things. I just wanted to be there and get what was going on. So that's the way I approached it. And the lighting had been done, and especially people's faces during things like table reads or rehearsals, where they're reading from their script and they're not looking up enough, so their faces are very dark, and you always want to have people's faces light. And it was incredibly difficult to have people's faces light when they're, for one, looking down, and two, the lights are. I'd offload my pictures, and I'd either look at them that night, or I'd go back to them the next day, and because there ended up being so many, I could not have gone through and edited them all in one batch. It would have taken me forever. And I think I had the benefit of when I looked at them close to the time when I took them, I think I had the benefit of understanding what was happening in the situation. And when I picked ones that I like out of that situation, it helped cement that idea in my head. So when I was writing captions or writing what little actual copy there is in the book, I had an understanding of what was going on in the pictures and how to write what was happening if it needed it, so I could expand the knowledge of the viewer rather than just sort of reproducing what was in the picture in the captions or in the copy.